does Strinova have the ability to become the next competitive first-person shooter? And I think yes. I think it does have the ability to join the ranks of like Valorant, Siege, Apex Legends, Fortnite. The reason for that is because its style, it brings over a whole new kind of audience over to the first-person shooter genre, and its gimmick as well, where you can turn to 2D, you can kind of go 2D into wars, and this allows you to dodge a lot of mechanics and dodge pretty much bullets if you slide into that 2D mode. You can also glide from like places and buildings and things like that, which allows you to reposition silently. In terms of like thinking about it in a competitive space, those things, especially the 2D mechanic, adds a lot of kind of variety to the game and separates itself from the others as well, where if you were to kind of like crouch to dodge the crosshair placement and to get the upper hand, you can't really do that in Strinova, but you would do that in going into like the 2D mode, where you might not, you know, you're more difficult to be seen, and also you can dodge bullets, which is also pretty good to get your advantage on your enemy. But right now, it's not in the place to be the competitive shooter. I think there's a lot of things that it does need on the back end of stuff. Thinking about it, there's a lot of champions that are kind of in really weird places. They do synergize together when you have your supports, your controllers, your duelists. You can give your jeweler a shield, and then they can run in, and then they can do damage, and then they can take damage via that shield, and then they can heal themselves back up again via your support. So that stuff, when using those kind of agents, feels quite nice. But the issue that is in ranked right now in Strinova is that you don't get the bomb down. There's no like playing for post plant. There's no like retake happening, right? There's none of that. And all of that stuff happens in Valorant. That stuff happens in CS, because it adds that kind of that tenseness and that skill to the game, where you're kind of, where are they? How are they playing? Where could they be? And that's what will separate kind of the pros from the standard players. But what happens right now in Strinova is you run at them, they die, or they run at you, you die. I barely ever get the opportunity to put the bomb down and pay and kind of like play for post plant. That's very difficult to say, but I don't really have the opportunity to do that because they run at me, I die, we run at them, they all die, the round's over. The overall game mode is quite short. It's only like 10 rounds, not even that. I think like Valorant at a minimum is like 13. And CS is a minimum. I think it's like 15 or something like that. I would like off the bat a more of a competitive, slower game mode. It is very fast paced. Again, like you run them down, they run you down, you die, they die. And that doesn't add any real skill to the game. It's not kind of slow enough to really show the skill behind the game, right? The thought process. Let's hit A. We can't hit A. They're all at A. Let's rotate to B and see if we can play retake on B, or see if we can take B by putting smokes and things down. And that also kind of goes into my next kind of issue with the competitive mode right now as well. Is the controllers, they don't really control. They just have their abilities and they don't really do anything. You got Meredith and Magdalena. What happens with their kind of skills is that they throw them out, but at the start of the game they don't do anything. They just like, it's a little splodge on the floor, or like a smoke column, but the smoke column doesn't do anything. You have to like level up the skill throughout the game in order for it to actually serve its purpose. As a smoker, like in Valorant, if you're playing Brim, Omen, Viper, you throw those smokes down, they go down, and they hold those angles so you can take the site. It serves its purpose. And then if Brim's used all of his smokes, he can just go and do whatever Brim does, or go play for Molly lineups. Right now, if I'm playing like, what's it, like Magdalena or Meredith, sorry, I throw my smoke down from my spawn side, and it's just like a column of just air, and nothing's really being covered. Then I haven't controlled that space, and it makes it very difficult for my team to continue trying to take space on site, because you have a just someone else over there just shooting you from those angles, and you're always taking damage from those angles. Like, nothing's being controlled, nothing's being covered. So those things are going to need to be changed in the game if it wants to kind of take itself seriously as a kind of competitive FPS to join the ranks of like Valorant, Siege. But right now the game, in terms of ranked, isn't like CS. It isn't like Valorant. It isn't like any other game right now. It's very fast. It doesn't feel too kind of tense to play. I feel like I'm just playing a normal game mode, if that kind of makes sense. There are a few changes that I would like added to the game. When you're on your buying screen, I would like you to have a little bit more money, because right now all you can do is really just buy a gun augment when you start off. I would like the ability to buy a gun augment or to buy armor at the start of the round, just like when you're playing Valorant or when you're playing a CS. You can buy armor right at the start of the round, but in Strinova, you can't actually buy armor right at the start of the round. And also, you don't have the ability in competitive mode to be able to change your grenades. If I go into the game with my normal grenade or go into the game with a healing grenade, I can only use that grenade. And if they're playing more aggressive, I want to be able to switch between my normal grenade. And if that round fails, I can buy a smoke grenade or a healing grenade for the next time that for the next round. And I can't do that right now. I'm just stuck with the grenades that I started the game with and that I've put on my character in the loadout screen, which again doesn't allow me to adapt around how the enemy is playing. I have to play like this, and that's all that I have. So I spoke about this a minute ago, but there are some agents that I would like to be changed. I think if you have an Audrey who's set up in kind of like turret mode and she's just staring down where you currently are, it's very difficult to get her off of that turret. And that's where the smokes kind of come in. That's how they're going to be able to fulfill that role. You put a smoke down on top of Audrey so she can no longer be in that position. And if you want to get around Audrey, you have to rotate from A to B. And they'll probably call that. They'll see that happening. And you go to B and she's already at B, already in turret mode. So it's very difficult to kind of kill her right now. She's kind of nuts. So I would like getting some changes to be added there. Smokes, there's some kind of overpowered agents, champions right now. Overall, the game is looking very promising. The gunplay feels really good and the abilities feel really nice. Being able to kind of like, who am I playing right now? I'm playing, no, I've forgotten her name. I'm playing the butterfly girl. I can't remember her name, but it plays very similar to Reyna. Like, you go in, you get a kill, then you can like use the butterfly effect to like teleport yourself out of sight. And that feels really good, especially as like a duelist mechanic. Yeah, the game is feeling really good right now, but there are a few things to kind of change to really bring it over to being one of the the competitors within the competitive space. But I think it's really promising. If we could change a few things, it'll be great. Again, not too sure how we're going to slow the game down, but that's for them to work out. I might figure it out over the time that I play it. But yeah, guys, that's going to be me for this one. Really appreciate you watching. Please follow, like, subscribe, all the kind of the YouTube things. And I will see you in the next video.